Programming is not about math at all. It's about logic. Unless you're working for Google on algorithms or digging into a particular piece of programming. But it's mostly, and I would say only, about a logical thing. And I will prove that to you in a moment by showing you the basics of programming in JavaScript. And to be honest, I do not have a computer science degree. I was never a good student. In high school, in terms of math, I would get 7 out of 12. And that was only because of the good-looking eyes and something else that I cannot legally discuss here. But anyways, on today's video, I will show you the basics of programming in the world's most popular programming language that has been one for the last decade, and it's called JavaScript. And you can learn it regardless which position you go for. A full-stack developer, QA automation engineer, front-end dev, or an SDEV. You can still or should still learn JavaScript. And some of you guys might say, well, there's also a Python and a Typescript. You should think about those. Let me give you a couple of reasons why we're going to stick to JavaScript, and then we're going to get started. So why not Python? Well, number one, I do not have a very strong no against the Python, but I do have a very strong yes for the JavaScript. Python is the second most popular programming language in the world, and it's one of the easiest ones to start with. But it's mostly popular in terms of AI, machine learning, and data analytics. And if you look into software engineering, full stack, front end and back end, and mainly QA and SDEV, you could go with a Python, but JS is still more popular choice. So why not TypeScript? Well, while TypeScript is becoming very trendy, JavaScript is a still based line of it that TypeScript is translated to, or to be more nerdy, compiled into. And a lot of projects in the world have not or are not moving into TypeScript. Plus, these two languages can work together without any issues. And the last job interview that one of our graduates from Codify Bootcamp did get was with JavaScript and Playwright in the United States of America for a QA automation engineer position. So we're going to stick to JavaScript, and even if you ever decide to switch to TypeScript, it'll be fairly easy for you because these two languages are very similar, just like Spanish and Portuguese, in my opinion. Now, let me quickly introduce this nerd right here, and then we're gonna get started. My name is Sergey Kromchenko. I'm a software QA engineer, lead manager, and a senior engineering manager of SDEV in the past. But these days, I'm helping people like you to become a QA automation engineer from scratch or to improve your existing skills. And I'm a founder of Codify Bootcamp, links to which you can find right here. Now, let's get started so I could finally deliver value without a BS right here. Before we get started, let me quickly show you the plan. So first of all, we're going to be learning following topics: console.log in JavaScript, numbers, strings, let variables, and functions. And by the end of this short 10 minutes tutorial, you'll be able to create a function to calculate your hourly salary, or to convert it from annual salary to hourly salary programmatically. And let me quickly show you the magic. All right, so first of all, we're going to navigate to codeplay.io. That's going to be our environment where we're going to be writing code. So let's click it, then click Start Coding. Then let's load it and select JavaScript. You can see multiple languages here, and for some reason, JavaScript is the most popular one, or the first one on the list. All right, we're going to click it. Now we're going to click here, Command A, delete, or simply highlight everything and then remove it, or press delete button. Cool. So first of all, console.log. Before we get started, let me quickly explain what's happening here. On the top, we see our code editor. At the bottom, we see console. We can close web view because we're not going to be building any user interface. We're going to be writing code and see an output in a console right here. So first code, let's type in console.log. And you guys should follow me. You should not simply watch. You should actually apply it. Go to the same website, type in the same code. Cool. Console.log 1. and we see 1. Console log 123 plus 500 or 666. The total is 789. All right, accidentally refresh or close this page and all your code will be removed. We are fine with that, thank you. So let's continue. Console log, we type in any digit and then we add or multiply or remove, minus, and we're gonna see the result right here. So at least you can use it as a calculator. And for you guys, it's very simple to understand, right? That whatever digit you put here, whatever multiplication you do here, we're going to get the result at the bottom. Okay, that's the very basics of the numbers. So the numbers have been covered. Cool, now let's move on to, actually the console log and the numbers have been covered, so let's move on to strings. What is a string? A string is a text, but if we type in text, it's going to say it's not defined, and I will explain to you soon why. For now, I want you to put quotes. So next to the return button on Mac and somewhere else on your Windows keyboard if you're using Windows. I'm not sure why will you use Windows in 2025, but still, I'm just kidding, guys. So you put quotes right here and put your name. I'm going to put my name here, Sergi. Excellent. So that is called a string. A string is a text, and any piece of the text, if you want it to be used as a text, you have to put a quote on both sides. Excellent. What can we do with the strings? Well, we can add them together. We can say, my name is Sergi. That's the one string, right? What if we have multiple strings? We can put a space and we can add another string to it. Space, Sergi. So my name is plus another string, and now we have one text together. You might ask, well, why can't we just remove that stuff and output it as one? Well, we can, but I'm showing to you what you can do with the different strings. But generally speaking, string is a text that we can use. So let's remove it and let's mark it as done right here. Excellent. We are done with strings. That was quick. Now let's move forward and learn something else, something called variables. Before, we've console logged multiple strings, and that was kind of dumb. Now we're going to make at least some sense out of it. So we have something called let, or variables in JavaScript, and those are containers for the information. Let's say let name equals to Sergi. So now computer is going to remember that, hey, by saying let, we're letting this world know that there is a bucket or a box on the top of which we can see name, and inside of it there is Sergi as the value or as the text. Now let's add a little more sense to it. Greeting. We're going to have greeting variable, and this one will say, hey everyone, my name is, and we're going to put a dash and then space. And now we're going to console log it. We're going to grab those variables and console log them together. We're going to say greeting first, and then plus name. Hey everyone, my name is Sergi. Let's actually add well, we don't need exclamation mark, but that's fine. So now what do we do here? We have multiple buckets with the names. Think of it this way, just like that. You are console logging greeting and the name, and you don't even see it here, but you can see the value. So these are boxes or buckets with labels, and those are called variables. And what's inside of them is called the value. So the variable name is name and greeting, and the values are Sergi and hey everyone, my name is. And those are strings. Awesome. I'm pretty sure you are slowly getting bored and thinking, well, it doesn't make sense and it's kind of hard to remember. It's so much information right away. The thing is, that's how our brain works. You might even be falling asleep right now because you're seeing something for the first time. And how our brain works is whenever a new neural connection is created, it will naturally put you asleep in order to create that connection or make it stronger. So just FYI, if you're falling asleep, that's completely fine. You're not bored, you're not dumb or something. It's just the way how our brain grabs new information. Just like in college, whenever you're learning a new topic, you're falling asleep. All right, let's move forward. We did learn variables. We did learn console log, numbers, strings, variables. Now let's learn functions. And then we're going to be able to put it all together into one final solution project in a JavaScript. And just in case you forgot, you gotta hit that big fat thumb up button below, subscribe to our channel if you do not want to miss out on such as useful content as this video and a lot of different types of videos that we have on this channel. Let's move forward. Please get a coffee or do some push-ups, preferably 20 at least, if you can, from your legs, not from your knees. And then let's continue, because I want you guys to be up to speed. I don't want you to be sleepy right now. Okay, I'm going to remove all of it. And now we're going to create function. So function output name. This is going to be so what is function? A function is a reusable piece of code. Imagine that you want, or let's call it greeting. Let's actually return our code with a command Z, and let's create a function called greeting. And in the future, if we will need to greet someone, we will be able to use our greeting function. Okay, now let me explain what's happening here. I'm going to say this. So number one, function greeting is a reusable piece of code, and we just name it greeting. And then name is a parameter. I'm going to write it here. Name is a parameter, is a dynamic parameter. And guys, don't fall asleep. Stick with me until the end. We are almost there, and you're going to be proud of yourself. You're going to be better than the 99.9% of the people on this planet in terms of coding after you finish this video. Cool. So name is the greeting. Name is dynamic parameter, and then greeting is our function name. Okay, so first we're saying, hey, it's going to be a function. Then we're saying, okay, the function name is greeting, and then we're going to be passing someone's name into it dynamically. That's what it means. And then we're going to return greeting plus name. Excellent. Now, our function is done. So after I will show you how to use it, then you'll understand how it works. So let's call our function. Let's say this way, console.log, and then inside of the console.log, we're going to say greeting, and then we're going to pass our name into it, Sergi. And then you see, oh wow, hey everyone, my name is Sergi, but how does that work? So first of all, computer reads this function. Nothing gets outputted, right? If I comment out this, by the way, comment out means converted to text from code, so computer doesn't see this anymore. The function is simply an instruction of what we will be using in the future. The console.log is the only piece of the code that will output something into console. So I'm going to remove our slashes or comment. And now we're saying, so let me actually put a comment here. This is where we are calling or executing our function. It's called to execute or to call our function. Now, if I copy pasted and I change the name Alex, and then I copy paste it again. By the way, I do it by pressing Command C, Command V. let's say Victoria, and I do Command C, Command V, and I say Elizabeth. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying this video and if you would like to dig into QA automation or as that position, we are actually kicking off a cohort next week where you can learn QA automation or an as that profession if you do have basics of manual testing already. If you do not, feel free to check out the link right below this video and see if you would want to learn both one by one and become a software QA engineer or an SDET. All right, let's continue. Excellent. So you can see that the greeting is only one function, but it's a reusable piece of code that allows us to use it as many times as we want. And the only one dynamic part here is a name that we're passing in. And as soon as we pass it in, let me explain actually how does the computer reads this code. Computer reads it just like me, from the left to the right, from the top to the bottom. First, it remembers this. Then we're saying console.log, greeting Sergi. Then computer goes back here because it remembers that and it says, okay, in the greeting, we have greeting variable, which has the value, hey everyone, my name is Sergi. And then as the result, we are returning greeting plus name. So whatever was passed as the name, in our case, it's Sergi. So name becomes Sergi on this line of code. So now we're saying, hey everyone, my name is plus name Sergi. And that gets returned right here. So this is becoming this one right here. And that's why we output it. Then computer goes to the next line and it does the same thing, but now the name is Alex. So the name is getting replaced with Alex. And then we are saying, hey everyone, my name is plus Alex. And same thing happens over and over. So we have written this function only once, but we can reuse it in the multiple times. And that's the beauty of creating functions. It's called reusability, where we can create thing once and reuse it as many times as we want to. Great. I hope you got it. If you didn't, leave a comment below and tell me how much I suck. Otherwise, we're going to get to our final project and actually create hourly salary calculator, because you know what function is. Excellent. We're going to remove it, and we're going to remove everything. So we could start from scratch. Let's create it. So function calculate hourly rate. And by the way, guys, I'm going to challenge you. If you really up to challenge, pause the video right now and create this function on your own if you understood previous materials. If you did not completely, feel free to follow me. If you want to challenge, pause it right now, write the function, continue the video, see if you got it right. Let's move forward, because I love challenges and I love challenging people. Excellent. So first of all, we have to create a variable called total hours. And when we create this variable, it's going to contain, so let's think, if you're working 40 hours per week, and how many weeks is it in a year? We have 50, how many weeks are in a year? We have 52 weeks. So 40 multiplied by 52 is going to be the result of total hours annually, right? Total hours annually. Excellent. Second variable is going to be our hourly rate. So hourly rate. And by the way, we have to pass one variable, annual rate, not rage, although it's interesting. Hourly rate equals to annual rate annual rate divided by total hours annually. Excellent. So if we take annual rate and divide it by how many hours we have, we're going to get the result, right? Cool. So now let's return. Actually, we can return it, or we can console log it directly. Let's return it here. Or you know what? Now let me show you a different way. Let's console.log it inside of the function so we wouldn't even have to return it. So console.log first, we're going to add some text here. Our hourly rate is, and we're going to add our variable hourly rate. And then after this, we're going to console.log, and not our, it's your, your hourly rate. And your annual rate, let's say equals instead of is. It will be more professional in my opinion. Your annual rate is plus annual rate. Excellent. Now, as soon as we call this function and we pass any annual rate, you will know how much money you're going to be making hourly. Okay, let's do it. And as soon as I start typing, it gives me autofill option. So I'm just going to hit enter. It's going to autofill it for me. And let's say the average salary of our student that got job offer in 2024 was approximately $95,000 after the graduation. So that is on average $45.67. The record that our student got, by the way, he got a senior QA automation engineer position in 2020. Actually, that was at the beginning of 2025, I believe. He got $140,000. $140,000 is $67 per hour. Excellent. That means that our student does make $67.3 per hour. Plus, usually you make a lot of benefits on the top of it, such as health insurance and other stuff, depending on the type of the company you work for. Learning programming is pretty much a workout for your brain. So if you guys did learn something useful today, make sure to drink a lot of water, get some good workout, and get really high quality rest tonight. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next time.